Hi, I'm Mansi Fadke, Associate Editor with ThePrint. I track politics and governance in Maharashtra, and today we are going to talk about the BJP-Shiv Sena alliance. The two parties, after much bickering and a lot of back and forth, finally clinched a pre-poll alliance for the Lok Sabha as well as the Maharashtra Assembly elections. The way that they have worked out their poll pact is that out of the 48 Lok Sabha seats in Maharashtra, the BJP contests on 25, whereas 23 go to the Shiv Sena's quota. And out of the Maharashtra Assembly elections, for the 288 Assembly seats, the BJP and the Shiv Sena will first be in talks with their smaller allies and decide their share of seats, after which the remaining seats will be split equally between the two parties. All the posts and responsibilities as well will be divided into the two parties equally. The BJP National President Amit Shah, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and Shiv Sena Chief Uddhav Thackeray took a press conference yesterday with in the presence of a lot of senior Shiv Sena and BJP leaders and made this announcement. But significantly, all three of them were quiet on who gets the post of the Chief Minister of Maharashtra in the event that the BJP and Shiv Sena end up winning and form a government at the state. Now, there are a few important questions that come from this. One is what is the benefit to the two parties? We'll go one by one. For the Shiv Sena, it's actually very tricky because for the Shiv Sena, it was very important for them to stamp their authority as the most dominant party in Maharashtra, more dominant than the BJP in the state, and this became especially more important after the 2014 assembly elections when the BJP won more seats than the Shiv Sena did. BJP won 123 out of the 288 assembly seats, whereas the Shiv Sena won 63. They contested separately but came together in a post-poll alliance to lend stability to the government. Shiv Sena joined as a junior partner of the BJP, which was something that was unheard of in the Sena-BJP alliance back then. This threatened the core existence of the Shiv Sena as the dominant regional force of Maharashtra, and Uddhav Thackeray had to really he had to really assert himself as the party that is still calls the shots. That's the reason the Shiv Sena kind of negotiated for, it always wanted the upper hand for the Maharashtra Assembly elections. Its interest was in the Assembly elections seat sharing pact and not for the Lok Sabha polls. And sources tell us, party insiders tell us that they did push for a 50-50 because a formula which probably of a 2009 or 1995 level would not have worked today because the BJP strength has also considerably grown. But the Shiv Sena insisted that it gets the post of the Chief Minister, which is something that is still unclear. The alliance still helps the Shiv Sena because essentially by itself, the Shiv Sena would have been able to make a point saying that we can contest solo and we don't need the BJP, and our cadre is still very enthused, in fact more enthused to contest on its own strength than in an alliance. But on its own, the Shiv Sena would have never been able to drum up numbers enough to form the government. We have our first question. Do you think this will affect the Congress? What are your views? It definitely will affect the Congress to a certain extent, because if there was a triangular fight, if Congress and NCP are already in talks, they have more or less worked out a pre-poll alliance. Tomorrow the Congress and NCP will have their first joint campaign rally starting in Nanded, so if there was a triangular fight, if the Congress and NCP had fought against the BJP and Shiv Sena also as rivals, then the votes that typically go to right-wing parties, the Hindutva, the nationalist ideology votes would have been split between the BJP and Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena's core voters would have voted for the Shiv Sena, BJP's core voters would have voted for the BJP, and that would have definitely given the Congress and NCP an edge. The saffron allies coming together makes the situation tougher for the Congress to try and regain Maharashtra, the kind of numbers that it had earlier. The next question is by Sudeep Bhattacharya. Is 50-50 done earlier as well? If you mean by earlier, if you are asking if 50-50 was the formula that was followed earlier, no, that was not the formula that was followed earlier. The BJP and Shiv Sena entered into an alliance as we know it today in 1989. At that point of time, the understanding, Shiv Sena, it didn't even have its own recognized party symbol. It was a small party. It was a small party electorally, but it had a lot of presence as an outfit as such. So at that point of time, the agreement was that the two parties come together on the issue of Hindutva, which was at that point of time the topic of the day, of the decade, or probably half the decade at least, with the Shah Banu case and the Ram Janmabhoomi movement and everything. So at that point of time, they decided to come together on Hindutva, and the understanding was that the Shiv Sena will grow in Maharashtra. It will have the upper hand in Maharashtra, whereas the BJP will dominate on the national turf. So as a result, all the seat sharing agreements were also structured along the same lines. So in Maharashtra, for example, in 1995, which is when the Shiv Sena and BJP formed their first state government with Manohar Joshi as the chief minister, the Shiv Sena, the seat sharing pact was basically 171 to the Shiv Sena and 117 to the BJP. Similarly, in 2009, which is the last election that the BJP and Shiv Sena contested together, the poll pact was such that the Shiv Sena got 169 seats, of which it ended up contesting 160, and the BJP got 119 seats. So this is definitely, if you compare Shiv Sena to the 90s and the early 2000s decade, this is definitely a climb down for the Shiv Sena, but the political climate was such that they had to come to an agreement for a 50-50 if they wanted, if they really wanted an alliance. What is the on-ground response in Maharashtra? That's a tough one, but if we only look at what the Shiv Sena cadre and Shiv Sena supporters are thinking to this on-ground response, they are pretty confused right now. There is a lot of resentment also within the Shiv Sena cadre. To begin with, the Shiv Sena cadre and its supporters were split. There was one section that really wanted an alliance. This is the section that mostly is electorally active, contests elections, has tasted power, has worked as public representatives, and the other section, which is basically the party's ground workers, the Shakha level workers who go from door to door and are in direct contact with people, and especially those who have seen the Shiv Sena of the yesteryears, they resented the kind of political arrogance that the BJP was showing to the Shiv Sena after the 2014 Lok Sabha elections, and there was a sentiment that the BJP is now coming to the Shiv Sena, extending an olive branch only because the BJP is desperate and needs the Shiv Sena on board to contest elections. So they definitely wanted to go do it alone. Also, Uddhav Thackeray's constant criticism of the Shiv Sena over the past 2 years, and not just the past 2 years, even if you look at as early as last month, he had there was a scathing editorial in Samna which completely wrapped the Devendra Fadnavis government over a lot of issues. So considering all those things, the average voter is kind of confused. Those who anyway wanted to vote for the BJP and wanted the BJP to win are positive about this alliance because they think the Shiv Sena and its support base coming together will definitely also prop up and help BJP candidates and get Narendra Modi back in the center. That's about basically it. What are the major issues they are citing if they win the elections? Is it Hindutva? Yes, Hindutva is the most dominant issues that they are citing. So what the parties are trying to do is that they are trying to talk about it as if this is not just a negotiation of seats and posts, but it is a negotiation on the different ideologies that the parties have, their different views on various public welfare issues. So they started yesterday's press conference by talking about how Uddhav Thackeray raised a range of issues such as the farm loan waiver, the implementation of the crop insurance scheme, and most importantly the Ram temple, and even avenging the Pulwama attacks. So these are the few issues that they are citing now to come together. Uddhav Thackeray says that Fadnavis has promised to do a range of things on several issues such as the farm loan waiver that he has cited, and as a result now if everything is good between the two allies as long as Fadnavis keeps up holds up to his promise, and that's how they are rationalizing they coming together. Vardhan Chaudhary asks, do you think Shiv Sena will get a better deal with the seat sharing in 2019 than what they were negotiating in 2014? They clearly, the seat sharing pact has already been clinched, and they clearly have not got a better deal in 2019 than what they were quoting, negotiating for in 2014. In 2014, they started with negotiations as per the 2009 formula. By then, the Narendra Modi wave had already picked up. In fact, the BJP had a resounding success in the Lok Sabha elections and formed a government at the center with a sweeping mandate. So there was no way that they were going to agree to a formula of 2009, which means that the BJP only contests 119 seats out of 288. They ended the negotiation by Shiv Sena citing 151 seats to itself last, which is when the BJP went off the table and said that it is better off fighting the election on its own strength because it is not being treated as per its electoral capability. So clearly the Shiv Sena has not got what they were negotiating for in 2014. Bhumish Khudkhudia asks, how realistic are the chances of Aditya Thackeray being the Chief Minister of Maharashtra after finalizing of alliance? Aditya Thackeray becoming the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, firstly the alliance has already been finalized. Secondly, Aditya Thackeray becoming the Chief Minister of Maharashtra is a very, very bleak possibility at this moment. BJP has not even promised the post of Chief Minister to Shiv Sena. At best, they will give a Deputy CM post to accommodate the Shiv Sena, and if the party really pushes hard and puts up a great performance in the Lok Sabha election, then they can also probably, the Shiv Sena can bargain for a chief ministership for 2.5 years. Having said that, Aditya Thackeray although his rank has been elevated as the leader, as a Shiv Sena Neta, which is basically the first rung of leadership in the party, and he is also the Yuva Sena leader, he is still viewed as somebody who is young in the party, and Aditya Thackeray, his talent in the party is basically to reach out to the young Maharashtrians, the younger voters who still kind of, have a thinking that is more right-wing in terms of purely politics, but these are the young voters who are on Twitter, who love social media, who love going out, who love catching a coffee at 12:30 after finishing long hard days of work. And Aditya Thackeray talks to these kind of people and helps to kind of get their votes. But Aditya Thackeray alone is not enough to keep the entire the Sena support base intact and unite them. So Aditya Thackeray's elevation as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra is a very distant possibility at this point. What about issues like farmer suicides? Maharashtra has the highest number of farmer suicides. What is the stand on this? So since the beginning, since about 2015 or 2016, the Shiv Sena has constantly been flogging the Devendra Fadnavis government on farm distress, and in fact, even in the state assembly, in the state legislature, Shiv Sena MLCs and MLAs have even sided with the opposition to protest against the BJP over farm distress, and Shiv Sena had raised its voice and even come on the streets to protest against its own government, asking for a farm loan waiver. So the Shiv Sena clearly wanted to make itself, while in the government, the protector of the common people's rights. And as a result, they kept on harping on issues such as farm loan waiver, crop insurance, and this is one of the major points that they are using to rationalize why the Shiv Sena has now agreed to come into the alliance, although purely in terms of numbers, it has really not got the kind of strength that it had intended to. It has not got the upper hand and the status of the elder brother that it had intended to. So with Fadnavis having promised a range of things on crop insurance, for example, the opening of Krishi Kendras in every district so that farmers can know exactly where to go and complain with regards to their crop insurance issues, or taking swift decisions to make about 50 lakh farmers have got the waiver by now. So basically taking swift decisions to ensure that there are more farmers who may have been declared ineligible due to technical grounds who are now included in the farm loan waiver. So they are using all these things to rationalize that finally, okay, BJP has given us a hearing on these issues, and issues of public welfare are being now sorted between us. So now we are ready to join the BJP in an alliance. So in a nutshell, this is about it. Thank you so much for watching the YouTube live. We do a live every day on an issue of current relevance. Keep watching The Print for more discussions. Thank you.